guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make apple turnovers. Perfect for this time of year because apples are in season. So I figured I'm going to share this recipe with you. It's easy to make, and let me take you over the ingredients so we can get started. I'm going to need some chopped apples. I'm using a combination of Granny Smith apples and Honeycrisp, brown sugar, salt, cinnamon, all-purpose flour, orange, unsalted butter. You're going to need some raw sugar, an egg wash, which is just one egg beaten with a little bit of water or milk, and some puff pastry, which I have keeping cold in the fridge because you know how puff pastry is. Once it gets warm, it's a little finicky to work with. So the first thing you want to do is get your oven preheated to about 400. Second thing you want to do is take 2 baking sheets, line them with parchment paper. And now let's get going. We're going to actually cook the mixture, the apple mixture a little bit so that the apples are cooked, because if I were to just put the raw mixture into the puff pastry and straight into the oven, then the apples would still have a bit too much texture for my liking, so I cook the mixture beforehand. In this skillet, I have got my butter that I have here melting over about medium heat. I'm going to add in my apples. I'm just using a combination of Granny Smith and Honeycrisp because the Granny Smith apples are really nice and tart, and the Honeycrisp are sweet, so that means that I can use a little bit less sugar and still get a really good texture from the Granny Smith. Now I've peeled them, quartered them, and cut them into bite-sized pieces, so that's good. And I'm going to get this cooking. This is probably going to cook for about 5 to 7 minutes. I'm actually going to add some orange zest to this first, about the zest of half of an orange. I love the combination of orange with just about anything really, and I think here it really plays off. It's almost like resembles apple pie filling because I do put some orange in my apple pie filling, so I like that. And I'm going to add some brown sugar as well, and I'm going to let this whole thing cook for about 5 to 7 minutes or until the apples have softened just a bit. My apples have been cooking for about 7 minutes and they're beginning to soften, which is just how I want it. Now I'm going to add in my flour, cinnamon, and salt. And the flour is really a crucial ingredient here because the flour is going to thicken up those juices, because otherwise it's going to make the actual puff pastry really soggy, which I don't want that. So the flour is going to help thicken those juices and just be absolutely delicious. I'm just going to cook this for 2 minutes while constantly stirring, or until I see that the juices are beginning to thicken nicely, and then I'm going to let this cool for a bit before getting out the puff pastry and getting these stuffed and ready. My apple mixture has cooled, and I've got a sheet of puff pastry here that I've put on a floured surface, and all I did was just roll it out an inch bigger on all sides, really, just to get it a little bit bigger than it is. All right, that looks good enough. And now I'm going to just cut this into 4 squares, as even as you possibly can, and then just take a small scoop of apple mixture. You don't want to put too much because then they can kind of explode, and that defeats the purpose of having a turnover because it'll be all over the place. So just fill each one. Okay, my last 4, and this apple filling smells so good. I wish you could smell what I'm smelling. Now just brush the edges with some egg wash so that when you close them, they stick together, seal. It's like the glue for pastry is what I like to call it. And now just fold them together and then just pinch everything to seal and put them on your prepared baking sheet. Last one. And then I'm going to take a fork, dip it in flour, and just go all around the edges just to make sure that they're all really nicely sealed. And you can make these in a smaller version if you wanted to. I make big ones because who am I kidding? I'm going to eat the entire thing, so I want to eat a nice size turnover. And then I'm going to take a knife and make a slit right on top of each one. This allows the steam to escape and it doesn't puff up so much. And then brush the tops with your egg wash. And just sprinkle the top with some raw sugar, just for a little extra sweetness and crunch. And these are going to go into your preheated oven at 400 for about 20 to 25 minutes until golden brown and puffy. And I'll show you what I do. I'll show you what I do when they're done. My turnovers baked for about 20 minutes and they are perfection. I mean, look at them. They smell fantastic. And I've let these cool for about 10 minutes because you know I'm going to go right into them. But first, I'm going to drizzle over some caramel sauce. Now, it can be store-bought or homemade. It does not matter. It's whatever you prefer. I'm just going to cut. I have some in a piping bag here. And I'm just going to snip off. Oops. That's what landed right there. Actually, I'm going to cut a little bit bigger. There you go. Oop, it went over there again. Okay. Ah, forget about that. And then I'm just going to, look at that. I know these are pretty naughty, but listen, once in a while, it's a great treat. And I know that I want to and probably will try to eat the whole thing, but I'm going to be nice and try to share because these are quite big. Just going to take one to cut into. Look at that. You could see the apple filling. Oh. What's that on my lips? It's so amazing. One of the best desserts or treats in the entire world because of that puff pastry and that filling. It's a match made in absolute heaven. I hope you enjoy spending time with me. Go to laureninthekitchen.com to get this recipe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.